All right, let's take a look at the poll numbers in Canada, and let's do it in a few ways, particularly the gender breakdown. Men and women, who they going to vote for in this country? And the gap, by the way, absolutely shocked me when we saw some numbers earlier this week. The man with the plan, the man who knows his stuff when it comes to this thing, is Philippe J. Fournier from 338canada.com. He's a Macleans contributor, L'Actualité. He teaches astrophysics at Cégep Saint Laurent. He does it all. Philippe, how you doing?
Good morning, Elias. Good to talk to you.
Hey, can I ask you something here? Am I astute in noticing that your Twitter handle changed to 338 Canada from QC125?
Well, the thing is, yes, you are very, very, very well. So I didn't have QC125. I had QC_125, and it bugged me. And so when I saw that 338 Canada was available, I figured, hey, why not?
Make the switch. And also, it's big time, right? Federal's big time. We get it. Okay, Philippe J. Fournier, you were tweeting out earlier this week some latest numbers. There are some new polls that are in. But the thing that just my eyes bulged out was when you gave us the gender split.
That's right.
Tell us more. Tell our listeners more.
Well, it was a Main Street poll, but I have to just to mention here, it's not only Main Street that measures such a split, but it was put out in front. And of course, we know there's a gender split in voting intentions. It's been the case for many years in Canada and also in the U.S. But this week's numbers just were astonishing. Mm-hmm. So if we look at the female vote in this country, the Liberals are at 45%, the Conservatives are at 24%. So that's a 21-point lead for the Liberals. And if we look at the male vote in this country, the Conservatives are leading with 40% and the Liberals are at 33%. So a 7-point gap with the Conservatives ahead, which results in the Liberals leading nationally by about 6 to 7 points. But a 21-point lead to the Liberals for females, all the way to a 7-point lead for the Conservatives among male voters, that is a huge gender split.
So, I mean, now it's time where I get the analysis. We go from the numbers, what the numbers say, to your analysis. Is there anything that explains the gap and how big it is right now?
Well, I'm not a social scientist, so I will tread lightly here, not to make too broad statements. But we look south of the border, for instance. We saw that among men, President Trump probably tied Joe Biden in the last month's election. And among women, he probably lost by 20 points.
Yeah.
So we see a similar thing in the United States. But if I were to ask you, who are the leading female politicians along and around Erin O'Toole, who would you say?
Oh, geez.
There you go.
Oh,
there are, of course, some, but they're not high profile.
Yeah.
And so I think, of course, that would help the Conservatives to recruit more female voters on their side if they had more high profile. I mean, Rona Ambrose used to be a big deal with Stephen Harper, but she's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And so, we had the leadership for the Conservatives, the leadership campaign, where now her name escapes me, but the female candidate that was there.
Oh,
she's
yes.
a social conservative.
Oh, my God. What was her name?
And so, of course, social conservatives are not very popular among women in Canada. The polling says that. And so perhaps it is not too surprising. But yeah, so this gender gap could be a problem. If I look at the Léger numbers, by the way, these are from another polling from the Léger numbers, the Liberals lead by 12 among women and the Conservatives lead by 2 among men. So it's tighter, but it's still there.
Yeah.
This gap is still there. So if you only take the women vote, it would be a crushing majority for Justin Trudeau and his Liberals. But if you take only the male vote, it would be probably a majority for Erin O'Toole and the Conservatives.
So who do you think has the easier task? Because you mentioned, hey, Erin O'Toole, Conservatives, try and attract women, try and get some high-profile women. What about the opposite side of that coin? What should the Liberals do to make their numbers better among men?
Well, here's the thing, and I don't want to sound cynical, Elias, because that's not really who I am, but I'm a numbers guy. And if you just look at the numbers right now, the Liberals don't really need that many more votes right now. I mean, they would be happy to get 38, 39, 40%. Of course, they would want to do well, but, keeping the ship afloat here in the same direction, the Liberals, if there was an election right now, would probably squeak in a majority. And the majority by 3 seats or a majority by 30 seats, there's no difference. You have a majority and you have power for 4 years. So you really have to look at the contenders here that want to overtake the Liberals, and that would be the Conservatives. Mm-hmm. I think they have more work to do to win some female votes in this country. I mean, Stephen Harper did it not a decade ago, so it can be done. But Erin O'Toole will have to find ways to have more high-profile females in his cabinet.
We're with Philippe J. Fournier from 338canada.com, taking a look at the latest poll numbers. By the way, Philippe, just to stop that brain freeze, Leslyn Lewis.
Leslyn Lewis, I'm sorry. Yeah, of course.
Thank you to the CJ 8800 Research Department, our listeners on the text line who sent that one over because it was hurting my brain as well. Leslyn Lewis was the name there. But I will say this, Philippe, eking through with a majority, that might, hey, listen, if you're the Liberals getting a majority, you're going to be happy with that. But I would like to be if I'm the Liberals, I want to be into the comfortable majority scenario before I launch into another election campaign. So I'd send out Trudeau every week. And every week you see Trudeau, he's eating a T-bone steak or something. You know what I mean? It's like every time you see Trudeau, he's being a man's man. Just to get those numbers a bit more on his side. I want to throw something out here, Philippe, and maybe there's something that you can tell us from the polls when it comes to COVID-19, because I feel this increase maybe also has to do with, just our the way the genders are different when it comes to taking risks, right? Guys are more like, COVID-19, who cares, and women are more likely to be like, hey, this is serious. We need to be safe here. Is there any indication on how what the polls say about how the government's handling COVID-19 that could fill in those blanks?
Well, absolutely. When we look at, again, we can cross voting intentions with the Léger poll ask, are you afraid of catching COVID-19? Would you like to cancel Christmas? And these questions, again, when we compare men and women, we see that women, they want to play it safe more. And of course, that's a stereotype. And I'm sure some people are listening to this and are absolutely hating this. But I'm just talking about numbers and proportions here. But that is true. I mean, and that's why it would be so hard right now for the Conservatives to run a campaign on austerity because, we're considering that the vaccines are coming. We know that it's a question of months now, and it will start probably this winter and will go on through the summer. So taking risk right now when the vaccine is only months away would be foolhardy. And so let's say we have an election this early spring, let's say February or March. Will the Conservatives really run an election on austerity and having to cut all these payments that are keeping businesses, restaurants and bars afloat during the pandemic? It would be really hard for them. And you saw Erin O'Toole perhaps you saw Tout le monde en parle on Sunday.
Yeah.
He was asked point blank, will you cut those benefits to small businesses? And he said no. And so he's on the record saying no, but we know that, of course, they like the free market. The Conservatives in general like the free market, and it has served them well in the past. However, right now the free market says basically, well, if you don't have any money, you'll drown.
Yeah,
and so that's not a very popular policy right now.
The times are changing. Hey, Philippe, I know you got all these political links. You just throw that out there to the Trudeau people. He should go by T-Bone from now on. T-Bone Trudeau. And that's going to just get his numbers up with the guys. That's what I say. Philippe J. Fournier is amazing, and you can find him on the Twitter. 338Canada is his Twitter handle, and you can read him in Macleans and Actualité all over the place. Thanks, Philippe.
Have a great day, Elias. Talk to you soon.